There was only one job that I liked the most out of all the jobs I've ever had. Okay. And I was doing luxury retail consignment. Your Louis Vuitton, your Chanel, your Hermes. But it was secondhand. So y'all know like the real. Okay, boom. That was the job that I liked the most. It was slow, but once you hit commission, you hit commission. You epiphany moment. I was talking to my manager and we were just, conversing. It was like, you should like give people advice and people pay you for your advice. And I was like, so she kept talking more. And I kind of do that on YouTube already. And so she was like, so you got a YouTube channel? And I was like, yeah. And this was the year before the pandemic, right? She was like, oh, I watch like all this different type of stuff. He brings up Tony Gaskins and Shira 7. And we both watched Tony Gaskins and Shira 7 at the time. She was talking about how she was thinking about making her a YouTube channel, right? So I was telling her the different stuff that I knew about YouTube and setting it up and stuff like that, right? And she was like, you know what? This sounds so cool. She was like, I need to go home and give me a notebook and start planning out my videos. That right there changed everything. After I had that conversation with her, like probably a year or two later, I sat down and I was like, wait a minute. I said, why do I still feel called to YouTube when my YouTube never got monetized? I enjoyed it, but I wanted to quit because I had to sit down with myself and be like, why do I think my YouTube channel never got monetized? So I thought about it. I was like, well, you wasn't consistent. You didn't have a main topic. You were doing random videos and you were popping up whenever you felt like it. Do that sound like y'all in life somewhere and you wondering why you feel stuck? Because you do things randomly and sporadically and you just do things at the spur of a moment and you do things on impulse or when you feel a sense of motivation. But then when your motivation is out, you don't want to do it no more. It's not that you don't like what you're doing. It's just that you haven't sat down and created a structure. You haven't sat down and created a system. You haven't sat down and planned. I don't want to do it. I ain't want to come back to YouTube. And I've gotten positive messages on my first YouTube channel. But I felt like I wanted to quit YouTube. So I finally sat down and I said, okay, if you're going to come back to YouTube, we got to come back to YouTube right. Okay. So that's when I sat down and I actually tried to figure out, who am I talking to? Who are these videos for? Are your videos useful? What purpose does your videos serve? I was like, okay, this is my audience. This is my type of people. I said, my audience feels like they're creative. They got a bunch of ideas, but they stuck. They don't have a plan. They keep stopping and starting things. Okay. They overthink everything that they do, and it forms into delay. Like they ain't doing nothing with their life, but they really are. They have the capacity to create, but something in their creative process doesn't fully get distributed the way that they want it to. Their message in their YouTube videos and their offers that they create doesn't really get distributed the way that it needs to. It doesn't have a clear funnel. It doesn't have a clear process. It doesn't have a clear structure. It doesn't have a clear system. I said, those are the people that I want to talk to. I want to talk to the people who want to create a small business. I want to talk to the people that they are so inspired by this one hobby or this one interest that they have. And they do the hobby, they do the interest, but they're not getting paid from it. They know they're talented. They know they're gifted, but something in their wiring, something in their mindset needs a shift. I said, I think they need motivation. I said, I think they need to be inspired. I said, I think they need to be coached. I think they need to find out what exactly is the problem. Because we know what their patterns are over and over and over again. But what is the missing link? The missing link is you never planned it out. That's the missing link. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to become a digital design coach. Okay? Help people craft out their message. Have a funnel. Have a system, right? Have a structure of how they're going to get their message across digital platforms, YouTube and e-commerce. Okay? And so that they can fully feel confident in their skills, in their gifts, and their talents. And to launch it online with confidence, with clarity. And so that they have content that attracts the audience that they want and the people they want to speak to. Okay? And so it induces conversions, your likes, your comments, your saves, your sales. That's who I want to speak to. And that's how I became a digital design coach. I made my coloring book on Amazon. It's on Amazon now. It's an affirmations coloring book for creatives and entrepreneurial spirits to affirm the craft or the hobby or the interest that you have, so that thus you believe that you can create income off of that skill instead of you sticking by a 9 to 5 that really crushes you, because you're meant to create.